Dear participants, good afternoon. Thank you for being with us today. This webinar is hosted by Latvenergo member of the Management Board and CFO Gunter H1. We will first be introduced with company's financial results and key activities of 6 months 2023, and afterwards we will continue with a live Q&A session. To submit your question to the company, please use the Q&A window that you can find beneath the presentation. The session is being recorded and the recording will be available shortly. Now, without further ado, I would like to hand over to Gunter.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Gunter H1 and I'm CFO of Latvenergo. In this session, I will explore the key highlights of our financial performance during the first half of 2023. Before we dive into the financial results, let's take a look at the Latvenergo Group. Latvenergo is the largest renewable electricity producer in the Baltics with environmentally friendly energy production portfolio that consists of low-cost hydropower plants and highly efficient combined heat and power plants. In the first half of 2023, we generated 2.8 terawatt-hours of electricity from renewable energy sources, which represents 81% of total electricity generated. Our business structure is structured in two key segments, generation and trade, and distribution. The distribution side is vital as it brings in earning through regulated activities, guaranteeing cash flow stability. Meanwhile, generation and trade segment consists mainly of unregulated activities and focuses on maximizing the value of our generation assets and taking advantage of our broad customer base, which currently stands at more than 840,000 electricity customers, with a notable 95% being households. Lastly, it is worth mentioning that Latvenergo is a state-owned enterprise holding credit rating BAA with a stable outlook. Now let's turn to key market factors and events that has impacted our business performance. Last year, Europe confronted a significant energy challenge after Russia's invasion of Ukraine, resulting in surging electricity and gas prices. In response, European nations come together to address these price hikes and ensure reliable energy supply. They took various actions, such as seeking alternative energy sources, reducing the reliance on Russian gas, keeping up gas reserves, constructing new gas terminals, strengthening their existing energy infrastructure, and also actively investing in renewable energy. This collective effort has continued also in 2023, and we have witnessed a substantial decrease in electricity and gas prices since the year began. In the first half of 2023, there was 39% price drop in the Nord Pool system price compared to the same period in the previous year. Similarly, also Latvia experienced 40% drop in electricity prices, reaching €91 per megawatt hour. This trend was not limited to Baltics, it extends across Europe. The decrease in electricity prices was primarily influenced by lower natural gas price, affected by the warmer weather and increased renewable energy production, and slower pace of global economic growth. When we look at electricity prices across European countries, we notice a common trend. Scandinavian countries, which have been electricity exporters due to their extensive hydropower and nuclear generation, consistently have the lowest electricity prices, while Poland, Germany, Great Britain, mainly importers of energy with a higher use of coal and gas and less renewable energy, tend to have much higher electricity prices. Now let's take a look at Latvenergo key financial results for the first half of 2023. This slide provides overview of key figures. So I will start with revenues. So the group's revenues increased by 56% and reached 1.2 billion euros. This growth is driven by higher electricity sales, increased sales prices, and by unusually high water inflow and power output at Daugavas hydropower plants. Our EBIT also witnessed a significant 52% increase, amounting to 345 million euros, primarily due to the substantial rise in power generation at Daugavas hydropower plants. And the group profit for the first half of 2023 increased by 57%, reaching 223 million euros. Now let's take a look at each segment. In the first half of 2023, the generation and trade segment was the largest contributor to Latvenergo Group revenue and EBITDA, amounting for about 87% of the total. The segment financial results were boosted by 17% increase in retail electricity sales, higher sales prices, and substantial increase in power generation at the Daugavas hydropower plants. Overall, the generation and trade segments played a crucial role in Latvenergo Group's strong financial performance during the reporting period. Looking at our electricity generation performance, it is clear that Latvenergo Group is leading the charge as a top renewable electricity producer in the Baltics. Unusually high inflow in the Daugava River resulted in the highest generation output at Daugavas hydropower plant in recent years, producing remarkable 2.8 terawatt hours in the first half of 2023, a volume that could match a full year worth of generation. However, it is important to note that the generation output at Daugavas hydropower plants is highly seasonal, as it relies on the water inflow in the Daugava River, which substantially decreases in the second half of year, as shown in the upper left graph. Additionally, there is a notable increase in amount generated at our combined heat and power plants, reaching 675 gigawatt hours. The increase was influenced by lower natural gas prices. In total, we generated 3.5 terawatt hours of electricity, marking a 56% increase and representing 40% of total Baltics generation. Moving on, we have some highlights to share about our trade activities. We have substantial growth of our customer base. This shows strong customer interest in electrum services in both the electricity and natural gas sectors. As of June, we had more than 840,000 customers, with a remarkable 47% increase in Lithuania and Estonia. As well, we have almost 40,000 gas customers in the Baltics, and also with a remarkable 88% increase. Our customer base grew. As the amount of electricity sold in retail increased by 17%, totaling to more than 3 terawatt-hours. It ensured our Baltic retail electricity market share of 23%. However, our natural gas retail sales in the Baltics reached 445 gigawatt-hours. We are also happy to report that with the ongoing demand for renewable energy, the customers have continued to choose our solar solutions. The number of contracts for sale of solar panels, solar solutions in the Baltics exceed 1,100. As of June, the total installed solar panel capacity provided to our customers reached 55 megawatts, making us one of the leading providers of this service in the Baltics. Lastly, Electrum Drive electric car charging network continued its expansion, exceeding 220 charging ports at the end of June. In the first half of 2023, over 20,000 charges were carried out, amounting to 420 megawatt-hours, resulting also in savings of more than 250 tons of CO2 emissions. Now let's take a closer look at the distribution segment. In the first half of 2023, this segment asset value was 1.8 billion euros, making up 12% of group's EBITDA. This segment provides electricity distribution services to approximately 800,000 customers in Latvia. It's worth noting that this segment is regulated and the distribution system tariffs are approved by Public Utility Commission. Our distribution segment revenues decreased by 4 million euros compared to the respective period a year ago, reaching 148 million euros. This decline can be primarily attributed to 5% reduction in electricity distribution, influenced by decreased customer consumption, resulting from customer energy efficiency measures and the growing number of microgenerators. On a positive note, electricity costs for distribution segment were lower due to reduced electricity market price. However, distribution segment EBITDA declined by 11%, reaching 40 million euros. This drop was mainly due to lower distributed electricity and rising operating costs driven by inflation. Starting from 1st July, new distribution tariffs of Sadales tīkls came into effect, featuring a higher proportion of fixed tariffs to better align with the actual cost structure. The changes in the tariff structure with higher proportion of fixed tariffs are more beneficial for business customers as they are more competitive with distribution tariff in neighboring countries. Now let's move on to investments. In the first half of 2023, we invested 85 million euros, which was 52% more than in the respective period last year. Notably, half of these investments were directly towards strengthening our distribution network to improve network resilience. However, as set in Latvenergo Group strategy for 22-26, investments are increased toward expanding group's renewable energy production portfolio. Alongside our reconstruction of the final 3 hydro units at Daugavas hydropower plant, we directed over half of generation segment investments in development of solar parks. In the Baltic region, we currently have 15 solar park projects in various stages of development with cumulative capacity exceeding 300 megawatts. We expect to gradually launch these projects between 2023 and 2025. As for the borrowings, they reached almost 753 million euros at the end of the half year of 2023. As you can see in the left side graph, the funding sources are differentiated, and the main sources of borrowings are banks. The total debt portfolio also includes green bonds, which makes up 27% of total debt. The graph on the right shows the loan repayment schedule that is evenly balanced over the years. The group has had a similar repayment structure for a long time, and this has been purposely created. All the financial covenants set in Latvenergo Group borrowing agreements were met, and liquidity reserves are sufficient to implement a planned investment program. Now let's look at current events. Today I would like to tell you about 2 topics. Both are connected with the objectives set in the medium-term strategy, namely the development of new renewable energy generation capacities and the promotion of electromobility. So let's start with first topic. Latvenergo Group's medium-term strategy provides for significant contribution to achieving the Green Deal objectives in Latvia and Europe by expanding and diversifying our generation portfolio with green technologies. In this way, we help to reduce Latvia's energy dependence from imports and move towards climate neutrality. As a set objective envisages growing the renewable energy generation portfolio by focusing on wind and solar, reaching a total capacity of 600 megawatts in 2026. However, long-term target for year 2030 is to have additional renewable capacity of 2,300 megawatts. In order to reach renewable capacity targets set in our strategy, both greenfield and merger and acquisition approach is used. In the beginning of this summer, a public call for tender for the acquisition of wind and solar projects in Latvia was announced. The tender is still ongoing, but at the moment I may comment only that there is a really high interest from potential project developers. Besides that, we have continued to develop solar parks. In the June, 1 more solar park was put into operation in Lithuania. Currently in the Baltic region, we have 15 solar park projects in progress with total capacity exceeding 300 megawatts, and their gradual commissioning expected from 2023 to 2025. As we have already informed the investors last year, a joint venture of Latvenergo and Latvijas Valsts Meži for the development of wind parks was established. The objective of respective company, Latvijas Vēja Park, is to develop a wind farm with total capacity of 800 megawatts. The project is developed as a greenfield project, and it is at very early project development stage. As well, development of electromobility is one of objectives set in Latvenergo medium-term strategy, providing of sustainable and smart mobility. Our goal is 1,200 or 1,500 public electricity charging ports built or acquired in the Baltics by end of 2026, and closer goal to reach at least 500 charging ports at the end of this year. At the moment, at the end of June, the Electrum Drive electric charging network reached 220 ports. That is 70% increase. And in the first 6 months, it is carried out more than 20,000 charges, amounting to 421 megawatt hour, with saving 257 tons of CO2 emissions. Currently, charging in more than 250 charging ports can be also done using our Electrum Drive application, both prepaid and postpaid for individuals and legal entities. Please also note that this app provides for different features such as charging station filters, plug reservation time, and 24/7 client support. So we encourage you to use Electrum Drive and see how convenient it can be. Additionally, I would like to mention that on August 29, 4 years have passed since we have been providing electric car charging. So let's recap some of key highlights from our presentation. Thanks to unusually high inflow in the Daugava River, our Daugavas hydropower plants resulted in the highest generation output in recent years. We are happy to report a 6% increase in our electricity customer base, showing strong interest in Latvenergo services in both electricity and natural gas beyond borders of Latvia as well. And during the reporting period, there was substantial increase in investments towards expanding group's renewable energy production capacity. Currently, there are 15 solar park projects in pipeline with total capacity exceeding 300 megawatts. Their gradual commissioning is expected till 2025. In closing, we have very solid financial results with substantial EBIT and profit increase. So that's it from my side. Thank you for your attention, and I'm open to your questions.
Thank you. We have received so far 2 questions from the audience. Let's start with the first one. Why, even after price decrease, the electricity prices in Baltics are higher than in Nordic countries? What is the expected trend? Will they continue to decrease or increase?
Yes, thank you for the question. And the simple answer is that in Baltics, we actually see that there is a lack of generation capacity. And therefore, one of the strategic goals for Latvenergo is to invest in generation capacity. And having in place generation capacity here in Baltics could result in situations that these prices in Baltics and Nordic countries are closer or quite similar ones. But the technical answer is yes, there are congestions between these countries, and the transmission network is not allowing to import enough cheap electricity from Nordics.
Thank you. And the second one, what is your strategy in increasing the number of retail and business clients?
Mainly, yes, thank you also for this question. Mainly, I would say that the customer journey is one of the primary things that we are investing. So we try to be as friendly electricity provider as possible. So we invest in applications, in call centers, and in also in databases, so that we can help for customers to solve any problems they have, and then provide our service in very like a friendly manner.
Thank you. Both questions have been answered. If we don't receive anything else in the next seconds, I'll start to slowly wrap everything up. I'll remind that the recording of the webinar will soon be available. Therefore, follow Latvenergo announcements to stay up to date with all the news. Participants, thank you for joining the call. Gunter, thank you for your time today.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.